Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Carolina and today I'm going to be doing my labor and delivery video. I had my son a month and a few days ago and I have not had time to make this video. I wanted to do this video weeks ago, but I kept putting it off. I also wanted to do weekly updates postpartum, but I always found myself pushing it for another day and not having the chance to do it. I have 3 children now. I have a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old, and now a newborn. So I am also adjusting to having 3 kids. I haven't really done much, but getting used to my baby and his routine and my children and resting and allowing my body to heal. And I haven't really been wanting to do anything really but relax my body and just not think about wanting to edit videos. I did upload 2 videos since I gave birth. I did the labor and delivery vlog. I did vlog clips here and there of the day that I did go into labor and after my son was born. And I do also have clips from days after he was born in the hospital and when he came home, so I might show that in this video. And so I just haven't had time to sit down and tell you guys what really went down in my my delivery day and the birth, how all that went. So here I am talking to you guys about that now. I will show you guys my son either before or after the video, and then I'll show you guys how my body looks after I gave birth a month later. And so let's get started. I'm gonna start from a day before my son was born, which was September 11. It was 9/11, obviously. I went into the doctor and he had told me that I was not dilated or effaced at all and that it might be 2 weeks until he is born. And something inside me told me, like, no way, this is my 3rd child. Why is he not coming sooner? Why am I not dilated? And I was like discouraged because I didn't want to wait any longer. I just wanted the pregnancy to be over. I was just miserable. I couldn't sleep. Walking, everything was just not feeling well, right? And so I was like, oh, no way, it's gonna be 2 more weeks. So I went to bed and my boyfriend slept over, and at 4 a.m. on September 12th I went to the restroom and I saw blood on the toilet. And so 10 minutes after that, contractions started, okay? And I do say this in the video. If you haven't watched my labor and delivery vlog, I did mention that this happened, right? And so 10 minutes did go by and I knew that labor had started. And weeks before that I had like false labor, and I had never had that happen. I had never had like a false or like labor scare. I always just knew that labor was starting, and I never thought weeks or days before that, oh, this might be it. It just always, the day came and it came. And this 3rd time with my 3rd child, I had a lot of labor starting scares. And so this time I knew it. I knew that it was labor as well, after a lot of labor scares. And so because my 2nd child was almost born in the car, if I did not get to the hospital on time, well, 5 minutes or 10 minutes later, he would have been born in the car. And I did not want that because my labors go by fast. I just knew that because this was my 3rd baby, I didn't want him to be born in the car. I knew that my labor would have been the same as my son, which was 7 hours or just less time, right? So I told my boyfriend I want to get to the hospital as soon as possible. Even if I have to labor over there, I'm just gonna be firm, and I want to be able to walk and rock my body and be able to birth at the hospital. Not so I can get the epidural. I did not want to get the epidural. I did not get it, but for the 2nd time I did not get it, and I'll get to that later. But we did get to the hospital on time. It was so contractions started between 4 and 4:30 September 12th, okay? And I laid in bed from 4:30 to 5:30. I hopped in the shower like around 5:30ish, something like that, and I got ready just a little bit, and around 6:30 we were headed to the hospital, and we got there a bit early, and my contractions at home were 5 to 7 minutes apart, and when we got to the hospital around 7:30, my contractions were every 8 to 10 minutes, so they stretched out and they weren't coming as frequently. So I was like, you know what, we can wait an hour or two in the parking lot, and we can watch YouTube videos or whatever, and then we can go inside. I'll call labor and delivery saying that I am on my way, but we were already there, right? I called like 3 times, they never answered. They were pretty busy, and so around 9 we started heading up, maybe even sooner than that, but it was around 9:30 when they checked me, and I was at 3 centimeters, and my contractions were not painful. I have a very high tolerance for pain, so every time the contractions would come, it wasn't painful, but I could bear it. But they were increasing in intensity and not frequency, but intensity, right? And so they put me in a room, and I changed into the gown and all that stuff, and then they put me into another room where I was going to labor and deliver my child, unless they had to move me to another room, which did not happen this time. With my first, it did, but I labored, and because they were so busy, this is my theory, okay? I know my body. I know that my labors go by fast, especially because it's my third. I knew that although my contractions were 8 to 10 minutes apart and I was only 3 centimeters dilated at 9:30, I knew that my body was going to all of a sudden just switch to like having to deliver the baby. My body just switches on really, really fast to deliver the baby, and the nurse came in and she's like, well, the doctor came in and he's like, oh, you're in labor, okay. And then the nurse came in and she's like, the doctor decided to put you on Pitocin. And I know what Pitocin is. It's to induce labor or to make contractions come more frequent when you're not dilating, right? But I didn't think I needed it. I just didn't really voice it. I don't know why. I was just like in the flow of things and like wanting things to like happen, but I was just not out of it. I was just very calm and like, okay. Although I shouldn't have, because I mean, my baby's here and everything. There was no complications, but I just didn't feel like it was right, and I didn't think that it was the right thing for my body, because I know that my labor and delivery go by fast. My body doesn't need any extra push, okay? But the nurse and the doctor decided they were going to put me on Pitocin, and I asked the nurse, why are you guys putting Pitocin? I did ask her, and she's like, oh, the doctor decided to, okay? I got no other explanation but that one, and I was like, okay. I just went with it, okay? And so they put Pitocin, but they put me on the lowest possible dose. And sorry, the sun's in my face. They put me on the lowest possible dose, and it was around, well, they told me that at 10. So 30 minutes passed. I was still getting contractions every 8 to 10 minutes, and that was at 10 already, okay? And then when the nurse told me, it was around 10:30, and when they actually put the Pitocin, it was like between 11:30, okay? And the Pitocin doesn't start working until 30 minutes later. So it was like it wasn't 12 yet when my contractions started coming back to back. They were coming more frequently, and I felt like I was getting a rest, but it happened so fast. Like, it went from 10 minutes to every like 2 minutes, and back to back, it within like 30 minutes to an hour. Okay, so the Pitocin worked super fast, and my body already moves fast, so it was like flash. Literally, I felt like it was just like within an instant, like everything like just it escalated. And I don't know if escalated is the right word. It just, everything just moved so fast because my body already moves fast, and then the Pitocin, although it was the lowest dose, made my body just switch to like, you have to give birth now. And I was calm before the Pitocin. I was calm, but then because I knew my body was moving so fast and the contractions were so twice as more intense than with my natural unmedicated labor and delivery with my son, with my second child. And I went from like being calm and relaxed to I'm scared. And I was so scared that me and my boyfriend had, and the doctor had planned, my OB had planned that my boyfriend was going to catch the baby when he was coming out. And so at this point, whenever I had to push, the doctor wasn't even in, the nurses weren't even ready with anything. And I was yelling. I was like, I need to push, and they were telling me to hold it. But then the nurse is like, how is she gonna hold it when she has to naturally push? And she was very experienced. So I felt calm when she said that, because I was like, there's no way I can hold this, because with the Pitocin, I felt like my body was just like pushing him out even more because the contractions were more intense. And the pain, oh my goodness, the pain was twice. It was unbearable that I started yelling like, give me the epidural, like I want the epidural. They checked me, and when I was yelling, give me the epidural, and they're like, oh, you're 8 centimeters, it's too late. By the time the anesthesiologist comes, you're gonna give birth. And I was like, no, like I want the epidural. You know what, I'm a very tough person when it comes to pain. I do not give in, especially when I wanted an unmedicated birth again. I was in so much pain and I was scared. My body was shaking, that I wanted that epidural. I didn't care. But then I knew that my body was gonna get the baby out within minutes, so there was no time. But my mind was just not comfortable. I was not getting any breaks anymore. It was just like back-to-back contraction, and the pain was just so unbearable, guys. I feel like I keep repeating myself, but it's like I'm reliving it again in my mind. And even a month later, so the nurse is like, well, there was 2 nurses. One was very experienced and the other one was almost new. And the older nurse kept telling her, well, she kept telling me to push, even though she's like, it doesn't matter if the OB isn't here, you have to push. We'll deliver the baby, don't worry, if we have to do that. So the OB was next door, but by the time he got there, I was already pushing. I was pushing and his head was coming out, and my boyfriend did end up catching the baby. But when I felt him coming out, like I don't know how to explain this part, because everything was happening at the same time. So every time that I had a contraction, which was back to back, the pain was so unbearable and I was so scared already, right? So I kept telling my boyfriend, because he kept wanting to go see the baby, whether he was gonna come out, because he was gonna catch him, right? So he wanted to be ready, but I'm like, don't leave me, hold my hand, I'm having a contraction. Like everything just went out. I was like, just hold my hand. I wanted to like pull his head into my chest and like, don't fucking let me go. I just didn't want him to let me go or go anywhere, because I was so frightened and so scared. And like I felt kind of, oh, I don't know how to describe it. I just felt so naked and afraid. God, that's the only way I can describe it. I felt naked and afraid, and I felt like if he was closer to me, the pain would ease, and it wouldn't hurt as much, because it would ease me being scared. Okay, I can't even talk because that's how crazy it was. Okay, and I kept yelling. I don't even know how the heck I was pushing. I was like, ah! I don't know. I was making noises that I had never made with any of my other labor and deliveries, okay? And every time that I needed to push, I was like, ah! Literally, I think that's the noises that I was making, and I feel like I scared people because the door was wide open. The curtain was closed, but the door was open, and my boyfriend kept wanting to go check like where the baby was, and then everybody ended up like putting their hands in when because he slipped out, and as soon as I felt him slipping out, I opened my eyes and I looked down, and he was in my boyfriend's arms, but he kind of flew like in the air, and then like he caught him, and I could tell that then the older nurse, she got a little scared that he was gonna slip off and fall to the ground. I don't know, that's just my perspective on it. I don't know if that's what happened, but that's just what I saw as soon as I opened my eyes. And so because she did kind of like yell out like, oh, like doctor, like, or something like that. But I liked my OB. I have nothing against him. He was cool, but there's a few things that I was not comfortable with during my labor and delivery. And my body did not need Pitocin, because within half an hour to an hour my son was born already. So the Pitocin really was unnecessary. In my opinion, my son would have been born fine if I didn't have that, just like within a few hours. And because at that point it was already 6 hours that I was in labor, so I knew that he was coming soon anyway. But I don't want to make this video long, but after he was born, there was no complications. They put him on my chest, and he weighed 6 pounds 10 ounces, right in the middle of my daughter. My firstborn, was 6 pounds 9 ounces, and my son, he was 6 pounds 11 ounces, so he was right in the middle. And I breastfed him in the golden hour, you know, and they switched me to another room, and I had a lot of bleeding. There was just one time my boyfriend went to go get me some lunch, and when he came back with his best friend, and I got up to go use the restroom and I needed help, so the CNA came, she helped me, and I just started like dripping blood everywhere. The TMI, but that's what happened, and I was really scared. I felt very uncomfortable and like, oh shit, like I need to like hop in the shower and stuff like that. But yeah, that's my labor and delivery story. It wasn't like chaotic or anything, but just the Pitocin was unnecessary, and it made things jump quickly. And my son is here, so I don't regret anything. He came how he came, and I feel like for every child that's a different story. But yeah, if you guys haven't checked out my labor and delivery vlog, you guys will see what happened. I did not have a chance to film him actually being born because it was just me and my boyfriend in the room, no other family member or friend, and the nurses and the OB, so I had nobody to film for us. And I did take my camera stand, but we just did not have time to mount it and have it video record like hands-free or anything like that, so everything just moved so fast. It wasn't chaotic or anything, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna make a series of videos here sitting down in the same position because I left everything to the last minute, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope I didn't leave anything out. I'm gonna make a 1-month postpartum video right after this, so maybe you guys can like watch that and get like other pieces, or how my recovery was and how my son's been doing. So okay guys, bye.